This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
This is Whipping It Out with Anthony Cumia on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, here's Anthony Cumia.
Hey, it's Anthony Cumia, and of course, it is whipping out free speech. That's what we're doing. The First Amendment, and today we use the First Amendment to defend the Second Amendment. Because, boy, if you're a citizen of New York City, they are not doing it for you. They are trouncing your Second Amendment right to bear arms, to protect yourself. They are, and by they, I mean the leadership, I use that term very loosely, in New York State and New York City, are doing everything they can to keep you unsafe and to not allow you to protect yourself with the best tools available to you, which, of course, in the area of self-defense, that would be a firearm. These politicians, they have armed guards. What do they care? They don't care if a citizen can protect themselves with a firearm. They don't want you to. While they go around, you see Governor Hochul all the time. She's on the subway. Here I am on the subway. It's 20% safer than it lies, first of all. Secondly, show what's behind the camera. Show the slew of security and police officers that are joining her for her little jaunt on the New York City subway system. She's also, of course, made it more difficult for commuters to drive into New York with the congestion pricing, the driving tax. You want to drive into Manhattan, if you work in Connecticut, Long Island, upstate, Westchester, Jersey, you have to drive into New York City. That's costing you $9 a day. $9 right now. It's going to go up. And for people that can't afford that, well, they give you this wonderful public transit system in New York City where you can cohort with homeless, mental patients, thugs, criminals, murderers, people that might set you on fire. Yes, set you on fire. That's where we are. And with Mamdani coming in, of course, it is not going to get better. And odds are it will get worse. So with that being said, this story came out today, and it's tragic. It's tragic because it involves a 67-year-old man who was being sent to prison for 4 years. 4 years in prison for defending himself. That's what he did. He defended himself against a mugger. He shot and killed the mugger. And apparently, but he didn't have a permit for his gun. He had a little silver revolver that he'd been carrying around with him for quite some time because New York is a shithole of crime. And if you're a 67-year-old guy, you can't square off and duke it out with these young thugs, people that want to do you harm and rob you. The guy was doing what a man should do, defending himself to the best of his ability, which isn't throwing punches. It's arming yourself with the great equalizer of firearm. No matter how big and strong the person is that wants to take what is his, even a 67-year-old man is on even ground with that person because he has a firearm. And believe me, New York State and especially New York City does not want you to have that ability. They've proven it over and over again. The district attorney, Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz, she's the one who has successfully pushed to have Charles Foner, A Foner. Well, he couldn't make it in live or something. Charles Foner, a 67-year-old Queens man with no prior arrests or criminal record. This guy went 67 years without getting in trouble. Sentenced to 4 years in prison after he shot and killed a would-be mugger with 15 prior arrests. Do you see what's going on? Queens senior citizen who shot dead a man who was trying to rob him will spend 4 years in prison after admitting to toting an unlicensed revolver. So this is kind of reminiscent of the Bernie Getz thing. If you're a person of my advanced years, you might remember Bernhard Getz. He was known as the subway gunman, the subway vigilante. He was a nerdy guy. They didn't know at first because he had shot 4 guys on a New York City subway who were trying to rob him. And he fled upstate after a while of speculation as to who this was. Vigilante. I mean, they made it like it was Death Wish. They had drawings of him like it was Charles Bronson. And then this nerdy glasses computer geek comes out and says it was him. And much like this case, they didn't prosecute him on killing or wounding, as Bernie Getz did, the people that he shot at. But that illegal gun is what they did. And Bernie Getz wound up getting a year in jail for having an illegal weapon. This guy had to plea bargain. And that's where a lot of people, because I've been reading about this story on social media, a lot of people say, well, he pled guilty. That's what he did. Just stop. Don't play that game. That's what the courts do. That's what the prosecutors do. They scare the shit out of you because they say, oh, well, we can go to trial and you might get 25 years. A 67-year-old guy, that's more than a life sentence. So they force you to take a plea deal. That way they can close the file. The prosecutor gets their prosecution. They get their guilty verdict or plea from this guy. And they don't care that a guy that was just trying to defend himself is going away to prison for 4 years. This guy's married, has kids. He's a model citizen. A model citizen. Yeah, it says here the Queens District Attorney's Office chose not to prosecute Foner, a retired doorman. Oh, the doorman. For the Gonzalez killing. After he told cops that he defended himself from a mugger who lunged at him late at night, holding what looked like a knife. Turned out to be a pen. Hey, I've watched Casino, and I've seen what Pesci could do with a pen. That could be a lethal weapon. Foner took the plea deal to avoid a trial where he faced 25 years in prison on a gun charge that are not hard to prove, his attorney, Thomas Kinniff, said after Thursday's hearing in the Queens Supreme Court. Kinniff called Foner a hero who was put in an impossible position by what he called draconian Big Apple gun laws that make it difficult for law-abiding citizens to obtain permits to carry firearms. If this was a state and a city that had its affairs in order, Mr. Foner would be getting a plaque, not a prison sentence, Kinniff told reporters on courthouse steps. If we respected people's constitutional rights and provided practical means for citizens to exercise that right, Mr. Foner would not be in that position today, Kinniff added. After his arrest for the 2 a.m. killing in a driveway near his home on 82nd Avenue and Queens Boulevard, Foner told cops he'd been packing the silver revolver to protect himself from Big Apple crime. Security footage shows the alleged robber Gonzalez, who had at least 15 arrests dating back to 2004 and a record of mental illness. Oh, there you go. Just let him go then. Mental illness. It's the be-all, end-all defense for violent thugs. Continuing to charge at Foner. He continued to charge at Foner even after the senior pulled a gun on him. So those are the facts of the matter as we know them. But truth be told, Yeah, the powers in place in New York State and New York City do not want you protecting yourself. They say that if citizens were allowed to arm themselves, it would be the Wild West. That's what they call it. Meanwhile, an armed society is a polite society. We all know this has proven to be true in many states, cities, and towns that do allow an armed population. The fact that the prosecutor and many prosecutors in New York City, especially, are more apt to convict a guy like this, 67, never been in trouble before, has a family. He's looking forward to spending Christmas with his family, as he has for many, many years. And that is their let's get him. Let's get this guy. And we've seen time and time again, true thugs, criminals, violent criminals that have records like this guy, 15 arrests. And some of the stories I've been reading lately, 15 is a low number. There's the guy in Chicago that lit a woman on fire. 49 felony arrests. And they just let him out with an ankle monitor because, you know, he seems like a responsible guy. The judge in that case, another one that a DEI judge that just decides to let people go based on, I don't know, skin color, race. She decided he was too dangerous to be put in a mental facility. One of his previous charges was assaulting a worker at the mental institution he was in. So instead of locking him away somewhere else, or I don't know, does Chicago have places for the criminally insane? Is that just Gotham City and the like? Because this judge deemed him too dangerous to keep in a mental facility, so she let him out into the general population. And the guy decided he was going to light a woman on fire on the train. Her life destroyed, if she even lives. And you get prosecutors like this Melinda Katz in Queens, New York, who has decided that this is the guy. We're going to really show we are tough. And we want these criminals to pay the price for their crimes. So a 67-year-old man doing nothing but protecting himself against a man who wished to do him harm, to rob from him, and who knows what goes on these days. Are you willing to take the chance that that guy isn't going to thrust that pen into your jugular? I wouldn't. And Mr. Phoner didn't either. And for protecting himself in a city so full of criminals because the politicians will not protect the people or allow them to protect themselves, for that, he gets to spend his 68th, 69th, 70th, and 71st year of life in prison. Is that justice? While they let out people that are genuinely dangerous. Look, I don't know this guy, Phoner, but I would assume, based on the past knowledge, the knowledge we have of him, that he would have gone right on living his normal life as a contributing member of society, a retired guy, living with his family, wanting to celebrate the holidays. You think if you saw this guy walking down the street toward you, you'd get nervous and have to maybe go to the other side of the street? And this is who the likes of Melinda Katz, Queens District Attorney, thinks she needs to protect you from. Not the thugs that are murdering people on subway platforms. We just had another slashing, 2 commuters slashed in the face by who knows? I think the description was he was wearing pants, and that's pretty much it. Go get him. Go get him. If you see him, please let us know. It is infuriating. Infuriating. And I certainly hope that an appeal is filed and it is very quick, and this guy doesn't have to see one day in a prison cell for the crime of protecting himself. Oh, my goodness. Yep, sometimes when we whip out the old free speech and talk about the facts of the matter, you get a little pissed off. All right, Anthony Cumia, don't forget my show, The Anthony Cumia Show, every Sunday on 77 WABC Radio, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And my ex account, Anthony Cumia. Go there and find out what the hell I'm up to. All right, we'll see you next time. Till then, be safe.
Thanks for listening to Whipping It Out with Anthony Cumia. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?